Hey everybody, it's me, the Undead Viking, and I'm here with an RPG review for you, and this is what I have here. This is the book called The Things We Leave Behind. Now, ostensibly, this is a book for the Call of Cthulhu RPG. I played a lot of Call of Cthulhu when I was younger. It was kind of an RPG that, I graduated to when I got done playing, I still play D&D and things like that, but when we kind of graduated to other systems, we kind of moved on to a few different things. We played a lot of GURPS in high school, but then later on when I was 18 years old, and then my first few years of college, we moved into other more outlandish stuff like Rifts or like this, Call of Cthulhu. Well, this isn't Call of Cthulhu, but we just kind of, I think we like the idea of the sanity checks and just the Cthulhu mythos and things like that. It was something that we had just kind of gotten into as readers. We'd gotten into some Lovecraftian stories and what have you. So I'm a big fan of Call of Cthulhu. I don't think it's the best game system to run an extended campaign, if you will. And what I mean by that is you could run a campaign that has a story arc to it, but it isn't a game that lends itself towards kind of that continuation of your character. Your characters tend to fall apart, at the seams as they go along. They become insane, they get killed, things like that. And so, but it is a fantastic system if you have just like a 2 or 3 session idea to run through, or if you are like a convention, it makes for an excellent one-shot convention type of thing going on. If you have if you go to a convention, you're okay, we're going to play this game for 8 hours, and then we're going to go through the story. So that being said, this was apparently a Kickstarter. I wasn't aware of it when it was on Kickstarter, but I came aware of this on DriveThruRPG or RPG Now. They're both the same thing. That's a really annoying thing, by the way. I dislike how they kind of ping pong back and forth. Whatever. This is basically, it has 6 stories, and unlike a lot of Call of Cthulhu RPG adventures, they kind of base themselves in different areas, this is the 1930s or even further back, and there's all those different things. But this is a modern day stories, and so they have a lot of modern day things going on, like video cameras, cell phones, computers, those sorts of things. So. And one of the things about the Call of Cthulhu RPG is that it is a little bit easier as the game master if you are doing an older time, right? So you don't have access to a lot of different technology, travel, things like that. But these stories are actually really well done. And there's this little tag up here. It says for mature gamers or whatever. The Call of Cthulhu itself is not exactly a kid-friendly game system, just because the themes you're dealing with tend to be dark. They tend to be more evil, if you will. It's one thing, orcs are evil in D&D, but they're orcs, right? They don't have... you could definitely come up with a twisted orc that was torturing people or whatever, but that isn't, what people associate with orcs. They associate, a D20 and roll and see if you kill it, that sort of thing. Call of Cthulhu is kind of one of those things where it's if you survive the adventure and the world doesn't end, that's a good thing. You might be at a loony bin somewhere, committed for the rest of your life, but that's a success in the Call of Cthulhu RPG. So, anyway, I'm getting a little beyond myself. So I was very intrigued by this. I read the blurb for it, basically 6 stories that have a mature bend to them. Now, since these are adventures that you could possibly run into, I always have problems when I do these RPG reviews, it isn't just about a system or something like that when I'm talking about an actual book. I'm not going to go delving into a lot of the different adventures and the stories. I mean, there's lots of cool things going on in here. You know, they have, God, I get, like, I think it's the second or the third one in this book. The premise of it is that, and this would work perfect, absolutely perfect for a convention. If I ever run a Call of Cthulhu game at a convention, I'll run the one that's in here. The players basically wake up and they're in a car that it's on its side on the ditch, and they're kind of banged up and bruised, but they have no clue as to why they're there and what they're doing. And you know, and slowly but surely, like, things start coming back to them, and it turns out that, like, each of them was part of, like, a you know, they're in a van, basically, and the van's got all this TV equipment and video equipment and stuff like that. And then they start to realize that they were part of, like, one of those ghost hunter crews, right? You know, like the people that are going to go and hunt ghosts and those really fake shows that are on TV. So they were one of those, and so, but they don't know why they're there, and slowly but surely the memory starts to come back, and then obviously there's a really, really intricate story that goes on behind it. And that was just a fantastic adventure. I had a lot of fun reading it, and I just, like, started, like smiling, thinking about putting people through that particular adventure. There's one, like the very first one in the book, they grabbed me right away. It's called Ladybug, Ladybug Fly Away Home, and it's all about the abduction of a little girl, and like what's left with, and that's a very, very grim theme, right? So I mean, like, that's once again the mature gamer thing. She's like 10 or 11 years old, and she was abducted, and the thing that was left behind was her ladybug backpack, you know. And so then you're digging into why was she abducted, you know, what are the reasons for it, what nefarious purpose these people have, you know. And it's stuff like that. It's definitely mature themes. Each one of the adventures in here, there's one about a cult. There's one about, like, there's a really good spooky ghost story, like straight kind of like, you know, and they all have like a Cthulhu mythos bend to them. Now you could probably remove that if you wanted to, and I could see yourself taking the adventures that are in here and adapting them to a lot of different modern game systems, if you will. I could see people taking this and moving it into Fate, or I could see them even, like, kind of taking on, like, I know somebody who's made like a modern version of Dungeon World kind of thing, allowing people to kind of like explore and tell the story as well. I definitely can see people like using that. You wouldn't have to use, you know, the Cthulhu mythos for this. It could be very successful without that. But each one of these is done really, really well. There's even one about, like, this crazy, like, kind of town that has, like, both the town and these things or people that live in the forest. They kind of live in this balance, and of course, like, the player characters kind of end up there. Very Stephen King-esque kind of short story feel to it. So, you know, I mean, as far as like the quality of the book, I mean, this is a print-on-demand book, so I mean, I wasn't expecting like amazing work or anything like that. But I mean, the print-on-demand is fine. The artwork inside is, you know, fair to middling. I mean, there's just like a standard picture of a dude. The one thing I guess I kind of was a little bit disappointed was that, like, I really, like, for Cthulhu, I like having like really good art showing me like the grim and evil things that are going on, and this really didn't have a lot of that. You know, I mean, it's just, I think having a picture that you can show the players, you can say, oh, well, this is what you see, you know, when there's like a house on the hill or something like that that's kind of spooky looking or something like that. You know, it's okay. I mean, so like here's like a spooky house picture or whatever. And that's not bad, but I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe I was hoping for something a little bit more. But regardless, the stories themselves are absolutely excellent. And I could see myself taking some of the ideas that I got, or like the presentations of the idea of things, of the adventures in this book, and applying them to other things that I could play. You know, different campaigns, different things like that I could use it in, and I think it would work really, really well. So. there you go. That is The Things We Leave Behind. If you are a fan of like the Cthulhu RPGs, and if you're and the modern age Cthulhu RPG, I strongly suggest you take a look. You didn't. I mean, obviously you can get the PDF and it'd be cheaper. I don't like PDFs. I like having the book in my hand. But yeah, check it out. All right. So if you have any questions about that or RPGs in general or whatever, go ahead and ask away. I'll be happy to answer those as best as I can. Thanks as always for watching this video, and you have yourself one heck of an awesome day.